poop in the tub. I'm not gonna poop in the tub.
MultiVersus has been released to the public for a week now, and it has been breaking records on Steam in terms of fighting games. And people are seeming to celebrate it as a game that no longer has the stigma of being a quote, smash clone. But the fact that it does a lot of things differently really should take Sakurai's words into doubt for a lot of people. Should, but it won't. Since 2018, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has sold over 28 million copies. And don't get me wrong, that's 28 million more copies than I ever sold. The game has made that number despite Sakurai's philosophies, not because of them. It's not because he made the gameplay breakneck speed again. It's not because of the additions of his JRPG favorites with swords, magic and hair gel. It's not because he chooses quote, fun characters. But it's driven by two primary factors. And it's because of the game's accessibility, or high hardware sales, and the use of popular brands inside that game to increase software sales. Now since Sakurai works for a console manufacturer, he didn't have a choice in what consoles to make his game for. So that's outside of his control. But because the Switch has been so popular, that's the reason why his Switch exclusive game has the room to sell as many copies as it has. MultiVersus, on the other hand, is a third-party game. It's because of this that Warner Bros. And Player First Games decided to make the game free to play and release the game on multiple consoles, last and current gen, in order to increase the game's accessibility. That's how Fortnite was able to achieve the monumental player base it has, accessibility. So if you have a PC, an active PlayStation or an active Xbox, you can be playing MultiVersus right now. How does Fortnite, though, keep players interested throughout the year? How does the game manage to invite new players years and years after release? It's through brands. They're not brands that Epic Games had their sights set on long before the game was even released, like Sakurai. They're brands that the developers know, have a large following, and they use that to their advantage so their own fanbase remains sustainable. And they make these promotional items in their games for a limited time so that urgency causes their player count to increase. MultiVersus wants to be like Fortnite, but unlike Fortnite, MultiVersus has free access to thousands, if not tens of thousands of different IPs from Warner Bros. To make characters out of. But even if they had all the resources at their disposal to get the rights to anything they want, it's not like that's the direction they're going in. Let's go back to Sakurai's brain-dead remark on recognizable characters and how that doesn't matter, and having fun characters do matter.
Whether or not the character is fun to play as is more important than whether the character is new or old, or whether the character is recognizable to everyone.
Now, you might think that due to how MultiVersus is being marketed on social media, that it's for adult gamers that like competitive gaming, but that's not the primary demographic. Maximilian is complaining how there isn't a character that appeals to him. Okay, so what? Adult competitive gamers is just a one demographic they need to actually try marketing to. The primary demographic this game actually caters to is yes, Warner Bros. Is historically known for having so many children's brands that Player First Games is using for MultiVersus. DC, Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, Adventure Time, Steven Universe. Regardless of how the game is, kids are going to want to play it because of who they see in it. Kids don't care about esports, or gameplay, or what a 52-year-old JRPG fanatic's taste in games. If they don't know who Byleth is, they're not going to care. You have to go after them, because you can't just expect them to come to you. Arya Stark, the Iron Giant, Rick, and Morty, they have varied marketability, and you're probably going to expect characters like the Joker, Daffy Duck, Yogi Bear, Harry Potter, The Matrix and The Lord of the Rings, but just be sure that children are going to come first in mind in terms of who's on the roster. LeBron James, they weren't thinking about how is he going to work, I don't know, if we can do this, poor little soccer. It was more like okay, what can LeBron offer? It's crazy to think this guy who's been working on his own series for over 20 years is acting like a diva, while this startup studio from Warner Bros. Can make a basketball player work in a platform fighting game. And apparently, no character is quote, too big either. But, going back on track here, you probably should expect handfuls of nostalgia Cartoon Network characters like Samurai Jack, Ed, Edd and Eddy, or Johnny Bravo. Personally, I think one of the big detriments that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl had going against it was that they were trying to pander to the old-school Nick fans too much. If that game actually exceeded sales expectations, it's not because of the adult gamers buying it, because the adult gamers are the ones that are saying the game has flopped after a month. It's because of SpongeBob, Avatar, the Ninja Turtles and other marketable IP that kids are into. Not Helga, not Powdered Toast Man, not Nigel Thornberry or other characters that only live on in meme form today. So yeah, MultiVersus has a lot going for it, and we could see not just a roster, but the game itself expand for at least the next couple of years. The team at Player First Games seems to be really open to creativity, while Sakurai's still set in his ways of what he wants the gaming industry to be. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.